The WWE Universe was left reeling, stunned, and angry the moment Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker unleashed what insiders are calling the most vicious backstage and in-ring assault in months on Jacob Fatu. Sources within WWE confirmed that this attack was meticulously planned, not a spur-of-the-moment brawl, and the fallout has everyone scrambling behind the scenes. According to multiple reports, the tension between these three athletes has been simmering for weeks. Behind the curtain, Bronson Reed has been vocal about his frustration with the top-tier talent hierarchy, claiming that Fatu's untouchable aura has blocked his path to singles glory. Breakker, ever the powerhouse, reportedly sees this as an opportunity to assert dominance and stake his claim as WWE's next big monster. When the two aligned, it wasn't just a tag team attack, it was a calculated statement, one that insiders say WWE Creative greenlit to shake up the main event scene. The beatdown began during a SmackDown segment, initially framed as a heated promo confrontation. Bronson Reed, mic in hand, was hyping his frustration with Fatu, questioning why Jacob always seemed to come out unscathed, unchallenged, and untouchable. Breakker interjected, his presence alone adding an ominous energy to the segment. Behind the scenes, WWE officials instructed camera operators to capture the tension, focusing on Fatu's stoic, unyielding expressions. But what happened next went off-script. Sources confirm that as Reed and Breakker circled Fatu, the situation escalated physically. The first strike came when Bronson delivered a massive clothesline that staggered Fatu. Breakker followed up with a running power slam that sent shockwaves through the ring. Fans watching on live TV saw chaos, but insiders reveal the severity was far worse than broadcast could capture. Fatu, known for his durability, reportedly landed hard on his shoulder and ribs, leaving him visibly wobbly. Ringside staff immediately called for a pause, but Reed and Breakker, locked in a frenzy of aggression, ignored the standard safety protocol. Backstage, the mood was electric and tense. One insider described the scene as total carnage, but controlled chaos. Fatu's allies were reportedly screaming at WWE officials to intervene. Security personnel were prepped, but they were hesitant to step in until after the segment concluded, fearing the attack would be cut short on live television. The producers reportedly debated whether to halt the segment entirely, but Reed and Breakker's chemistry in the moment was so intense that they allowed the beatdown to continue to preserve the live drama. Multiple insiders confirmed that the severity of the attack was not exaggerated. Jacob Fatu was left with visible bruising and soreness in the locker room after the segment. WWE medical staff evaluated him immediately, placing emphasis on his shoulder and midsection. Sources say Fatu is expected to recover but may need several days of rest before returning to full in-ring activity. This is significant, as it signals to the WWE Universe and locker room alike that Bronson and Breakker aren't just theatrically violent, they're legitimately dangerous when aligned. Creative plans suggest that this attack is the opening chapter in a much larger story arc. The intent is to destabilize Fatu's image as the untouchable powerhouse, while simultaneously elevating both Reed and Breakker as legitimate threats to main event dominance. One insider called it a power play written in flesh and sweat, noting that the beatdown has effectively rewritten the pecking order among WWE's heavyweights. The strategy appears deliberate. Reed represents technical brutality with a hard-hitting approach, Breakker embodies raw explosive force, and Fatu is the untouchable target whose reputation is now in jeopardy. WWE Creative has reportedly communicated that this angle is a test not only of the athlete's willingness to sell a storyline with physical realism, but also of fan reaction. If audiences respond to the danger and intensity, this could evolve into a months-long rivalry, possibly culminating in a marquee pay-per-view confrontation. Insiders described the coordination between Reed and Breakker as terrifying. Both athletes reportedly trained together for several weeks, rehearsing timing, strikes, and movement to maximize visual impact without causing permanent harm. However, sources confirm that even with careful planning, Fatu still sustained significant impact due to his positioning during key spots. One producer commented, "It looked dangerous, because it was dangerous. That's what made it real." You could feel the locker room tense watching this unfold live. Backstage politics also played a role. Reports indicate that Reed and Breakker requested the segment be booked in a way that elevated both of their main event potential simultaneously, rather than creating a single dominant figure post-beatdown. Creative initially debated whether to allow both to shine equally, fearing that having two threats attack one target could diminish Reed's impact. Ultimately, they were greenlit, emphasizing that the double assault demonstrated coordination, ruthlessness, and unpredictability, traits that WWE executives are eager to promote to fans. Sources confirm Fatu himself was aware of the attack's severity ahead of time but expected a more controlled, theatrical version. Witnesses describe his reaction mid-beatdown as one of surprise at how aggressive Reed and Breakker had become. Some in the locker room reportedly described Fatu's expression as the moment a legend realized he could be toppled, a visual that insiders say will be replayed for weeks in highlight packages. Social media reactions following the live broadcast were immediate. Clips of the double F5-esque moves, staggered reactions, and Reed and Breakker's coordinated power moves went viral. WWE's analytics teams reportedly flagged this as one of the top trending clips of the night, surpassing typical main event hype segments. Creative insiders noted that the reaction validated the risk of escalating physicality, confirming that audiences crave realism intertwined with spectacle. But the narrative doesn't stop with fan reactions. Backstage, other top-tier talent reportedly approached WWE officials requesting a role in the fallout. Some want to align with Reed and Breakker, others with FATU, hinting at a potential multi-layered faction war in the weeks ahead. One insider described the locker room as electrified, anxious, and plotting simultaneously, underscoring that this attack has shifted both storyline and real-world dynamics within WWE's heavyweight division. Sources close to Bronson Reed describe his motivation as personal. He's been frustrated with years of near misses in championship pursuits and sees FATU as the embodiment of what's been blocking him. Breakker, similarly, is described as driven by the desire to solidify his main event legitimacy. This alignment is not coincidental, it's two ambitious, explosive talents converging at the perfect storm, using the attack as a statement to everyone in WWE, we are the next generation of unstoppable forces. And while FATU is expected to recover physically, insiders stress the psychological ramifications. Being left incapacitated on live television, while two rising stars assert dominance over him, has shaken his aura. Sources suggest this vulnerability could be explored creatively in the coming weeks, allowing Reed and Breakker to continue their psychological warfare, taunting FATU both in promos and in-ring confrontations. The aftermath of Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker's savage assault on Jacob FATU sent shockwaves throughout WWE's locker room. Behind the scenes, insiders describe a mood charged with tension, disbelief, and strategic plotting. For weeks, this wasn't just about physical domination, it became a psychological battlefield, where every glance, whisper, and backstage comment carried weight. Sources confirm that FATU spent hours with medical personnel after the segment, but his concern wasn't just physical recovery. The attack had exposed cracks in his aura of invincibility, a vulnerability the WWE Universe rarely sees. Behind the cameras, veteran superstars reportedly noted that FATU's confidence appeared shaken, and that's exactly what Reed and Breakker wanted. One insider described it as, they didn't just hit him, they chipped away at the legend's mythos. That's how you establish fear. Bronson Reed, meanwhile, was backstage exuding a dangerous mix of satisfaction and anticipation. Sources reveal he spent the hours after the beatdown strategizing with Breakker, plotting not only their next in-ring moves but also the potential fallout from the locker room. Creative's initial plan had been to use the segment as a one-off shock moment, but the duo's chemistry and the intensity of the attack prompted WWE to consider a full-fledged story arc. Reed's goal, insiders say, is clear, to make FATU doubt his position, while simultaneously cementing his and Breakker's status as top-tier threats. Breakker, equally ambitious, is reported to have used the segment to assert himself among veteran talent. Behind closed doors, he expressed frustration over years of comparisons to larger-than-life predecessors. This beatdown wasn't just about FATU, it was a demonstration to WWE management, the locker room, and the fans that he belongs in the main event conversation. His power moves, timing, and coordination with Reed were praised by producers as dangerously effective, with several describing the duo as a potential unstoppable force if allowed to run wild. The locker room fallout was immediate. Some veterans applauded the realism, recognizing the physicality as a throwback to old-school territory intensity. Others, particularly younger stars, were unsettled, feeling that Reed and Breakker's aggressive approach sets a new bar that's difficult to match without risking injury. WWE officials reportedly held closed-door meetings to reassure talent and emphasize that safety protocols remain critical, even in highly physical segments. Creative insiders reveal that FATU's temporary vulnerability will be a key storytelling tool. The plan is to explore a multi-layered rivalry, Reed and Breakker as dominant forces, FATU forced to adapt, regroup, and reclaim his stature. Analysts suggest this could culminate in a high-stakes triple threat or tag team scenario at a major pay-per-view, possibly culminating in a decisive showdown designed to cement one faction's supremacy. Fan reactions have been intense. Clips of the attack flooded social media, with thousands of reposts and heated debates. Some fans praised the realism and brutal spectacle, arguing that WWE finally delivered a raw, adrenaline-fueled segment. Others expressed outrage, fearing the company might be burying FATU by presenting him as physically dominated by two rising stars simultaneously. This division has only fueled the narrative, creating organic discussion and engagement that WWE executives reportedly love to see. Backstage, other talent began recalibrating their strategies. Reports indicate that some superstars are quietly forming potential alliances to counter Reed and Breakker, while others are positioning themselves to exploit the chaos for personal gain. The attack has not only shaken FATU but has altered the entire ecosystem of WWE's heavyweight division. Insiders also note that FATU is not sitting idle. Sources say he has been seen training harder than ever, focusing on both strength and agility. The plan is for FATU to return stronger, more calculated, and psychologically sharp. This sets the stage for a story arc that blends physical revenge with character development, turning a brutal beatdown into a narrative of redemption and resilience. WWE Creative reportedly views this as a chance to build a multi-month storyline with escalating tension, culminating in a high-impact main event clash. Additionally, there are whispers about potential interference from other factions. Some backstage sources claim that Rollins-aligned talent or other emerging stars could enter the fray, adding layers of intrigue, betrayal, and unexpected alliances. The idea is to create unpredictability, ensuring that the WWE Universe remains glued to each SmackDown episode. What's particularly noteworthy is how Reed and Breakker are capitalizing on the psychological aspect. They reportedly taunted FATU in promos, backstage interviews, and social media posts, highlighting his injuries and questioning his toughness. This strategy not only builds heat but also frames the narrative as a full-spectrum assault: physical, psychological, and reputational. Insiders reveal that WWE executives are thrilled. The segment generated record engagement, with spikes in ratings and social media metrics. By portraying Reed and Breakker as dominant forces while leaving FATU vulnerable yet resilient, WWE created a storyline that appeals to multiple audience segments: fans of old-school brutality, supporters of rising stars, and followers of emotionally charged redemption arcs. Sources also note that the beatdown has sparked intense locker room discussions about hierarchy, respect, and physicality. Some veteran wrestlers privately debated whether Reed and Breakker's aggressive approach sets a dangerous precedent, while others argue that this is exactly what modern WWE storytelling needs: high stakes, real tension, and unpredictable outcomes. The build-up to FATU's response is reportedly already underway. Creative plans include segments where FATU rebuilds his image, allies with strategic partners, and begins dismantling Reed and Breakker's momentum. Rumors suggest that this could involve high-profile matches at upcoming pay-per-views, surprise interference, and intense backstage confrontations that blur the lines between scripted storytelling and real-world intensity. Fans are being primed for a narrative explosion. With Reed and Breakker positioned as ruthless enforcers, and FATU on a path of vengeance, WWE is setting up one of the most compelling arcs of the year. This isn't just about a single beatdown, it's about altering the hierarchy of WWE's heavyweight division and establishing Reed and Breakker as forces that cannot be ignored. In the coming weeks, the story promises escalating tension, confrontations in the ring, calculated promos, backstage mind games, and possibly multi-person brawls that threaten to consume entire episodes of SmackDown. Sources confirm that the narrative is being treated as long-term, designed to keep fans engaged and guessing, ensuring maximum anticipation for the eventual climax at a major WWE pay-per-view event. To summarize, this attack is more than a brutal moment, it's a calculated, multifaceted strategy to shake up the WWE Universe. Reed and Breakker have asserted dominance, FATU has been exposed but not broken, and the locker room dynamics have shifted dramatically. Fans, talent, and executives alike are left questioning: who will survive the fallout? Who will rise? And who will fall under the weight of ambition, strength, and calculated brutality? The WWE Universe has witnessed the chaos. Backstage, the locker room has felt the tension. And on screen, the narrative is set, the battle lines have been drawn. The next chapter promises escalating violence, psychological warfare, and high-stakes drama that will redefine the main event scene. Brace yourselves, because the war between Bronson Reed, Bron Breakker, and Jacob FATU is just getting started. And WWE fans are in for an unforgettable, brutal, edge-of-your-seat ride that will dominate social media, locker room chatter, and live audiences for months to come.